Hi everyone, this is Mohi from Singapore Maths Academy. Welcome to our second area lesson for year 4s and 5s. So this is going to be going through area of rectangle again. So our second lesson on area of rectangle and just kind of making you think about it in a slightly different way. So let's jump onto the iPad and figure this out together. So it says here, area lesson 2, so our second lesson. So if you haven't done the first one, make sure you go back and do that. And we've kind of shown you a few things, right? So we want to highlight a few things for you. So firstly, we've got this here, right? Let's zoom in. And we've got this one square, and we're saying this one square is a centimeter by centimeter square. And if you can remember, we've said that when you've got a centimeter by centimeter square, the area that square takes up is called 1 square centimeter. And the way we write that down is 1 centimeter squared. Okay, so this just means 1 square centimeter, and it looks like this, a square that's 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. So we went through a few things last lesson, and we asked, how do we work out the area of any rectangle? If whatever rectangle is, how do we work that out? What is that rule we've got to follow? We have to follow a certain rule, right? Which is area of a rectangle is length times the width. And so here, in this example, let's work out the area. The area of this rectangle is going to be 8 times 5 centimeters, which is going to be 40 square centimeters. Why is it 40 square centimeters? Does anyone know? Well, it's 40 square centimeters because it's got 40 of these green squares. Don't believe me? Let's count them. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 8 going across, and we've got 5 layers of 8s. 5 times 8, that must mean there's 40. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Altogether, there's going to be 40 of these smaller squares, which are a centimeter by centimeter in length and width. And so altogether, we have 40 square centimeters as our area. So that's what we looked at last lesson. That was a quick reminder. So in today's lesson, we're going to look at what happens when we've got no squares. So in our previous question, we can see the squares, right? And the first part of this lesson is to remind you that actually we don't need the small squares. We can still work out the area by following the area of a rectangle rule, which is length times width. That will still tell us how many squares there are in the actual rectangle. So here we've got a 6 by 4 centimeter rectangle, and so the area of this rectangle is going to be 6 times 4, which is 24 square centimeters. If you don't believe me, let's put this away, and we can kind of move this maybe here. This is actually not drawn to scale, right? So if it was drawn to scale, if it was a 6 centimeter by 4 centimeter, something like that. If this was the actual rectangle, 6 centimeters going across and 4 centimeters going down, we can see that there's going to be, let's count, 6, 12, 18, 24 squares, and therefore it's a 24 square centimeter area. So whether you have the squares or not, you can work out the area of the rectangles. So here are 3 questions I want you to think about. Answer these questions for me. You can pause the video and figure it out. Once you're done, I'm going to reveal the answer. So you can pause now and try them out. So the first one, 12 centimeters by 5 centimeters, we've got area of 60 centimeters squared, right? 12 times 5 is 60. A 9 by 4 centimeters square, or rectangle rather, is 36 square centimeters. 9 times 4 is 36. And finally, a 10 by 6 centimeters square, is it a square? A rectangle, right? A 10 by 6 centimeter rectangle has an area of 60 square centimeters. So 6 times 10 is 60 square centimeters. So hopefully you've got those right. And we're going to go into our main part of our lesson today, which is to work out problems involving rectangles and area. So here we've got this problem. We've got an area. We've been given the area of this rectangle, right? We've got a rectangle here, and we've been given the area, and we've been told the area is 28 square centimeters. And the only other thing we've been given is we've been given its width, which is 4 centimeters. We're trying to work out what the length of this rectangle is. If I know the area is 28, how do we get the area? Area is calculated by multiplying the length by the width. We're told the width, so this area is going to be the length times 4 centimeters, right? Because we know what the width is. The width is 4 centimeters. And so that's why I've got 4 here. So something times 4 gives me 28. The area is 28. So 28 square centimeters is equal to length times 4 centimeters. What times 4 gives me 28? That's what we've got to ask, right? So I can work that out by doing 28 divided by 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. 28 divided by 4 is going to be 7 centimeters. So this is going to be 7 centimeters because 7 times 4 is 28, and that's the area that we need for this. That's the area we know for this rectangle, right? So let me see if I can remove this and see. Look, I've got a rectangle here. That's 7. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4. 7 by 4. The number of squares, 7, 14, 21, 28. I've got 28 square centimeters. And so it must be 7 centimeters here and 4 centimeters going in the width, because 7 times 4 gives me the 28 squares I need for this area. That's why this width, or this length, sorry, is going to be 7 centimeters. What about this question? I've got another rectangle. And in this case, the area is 48 square centimeters. They've given us the length, but we're trying to work out the width. We don't know what the width is. So I know the area is given as length times width for a rectangle. The area is given to us, so 48 square centimeters is the length, which is 8, times the width. 8 times something gives me 48. What's that something going to be? So I can work that out by doing 48 divided by 8, which is 6. And so the width must be 6 centimeters. Why is it 6? Because 6 times 8 gives me 48 square centimeters, which is the area, which is what they've given me already in the question. So have a think about the next set of questions. We've got a few questions here, 3 questions again, and we've given one of these, right? We're given one length, and we're given the area. We're given another length, and we're given the area, or the width, sorry, and we're given the area. And we're asked to work out what the missing lengths are. So I've got a missing length here, I've got a missing length here, and I've got a missing length here. This one's a bit unusual, question 3, right? Because it says this is actually a square. So that might be a bit more tricky, right? I'm going to give you a few minutes to work that out. You can pause the video and have a go yourself. Now that you've had a chance to have a go at this, let's see how we're going to work this out. For the first question, I know the area is 72 square centimeters, and I've got one length here, which is 8. So to work question 1 out, we have to do 72 divided by 8, which is equal to 9 centimeters. This should be 9 centimeters because 9 times 8 gives me 72, which is the area, which is what we need. 6 times something gives me 90. That's how I work out this. length. And so 90, to work this one out, is going to be 90 divided by 6, which is equal to 15. And so the length here is going to be 15 centimeters. 15 times 6 gives me 90, which is the area. So that's worked out. So the length is 15 and the length is 9 for the first one. The last one's a bit more tricky, right? It's a square. What do we know about squares? We know the length and the width are the same. So we've got a number here multiplied by this number, which is the same. These two are the same, to give me 49. Which number multiplied by itself gives me 49? 7 times 7 is 49. So the length of this square is going to be 7, because they both have to be 7, length and the width. And that's the only way we're going to get 49, 7 times 7. And so we need to sometimes use our knowledge of area to work out length. If they give us the area and one length, we can work out the width. Or if they give us the area and give us a width, we can work out the length. Sometimes it might be a square. We might need to work out the length knowing the area, and they haven't given us either the length or the width, but they've told us it's a square. So we've got to use our brains and think, if it's a square, the length and width are equal. What number multiplied by itself gives me that area? So have a go at some of the questions I've set in our homework, and let me know if you found them easy, challenging, or hard in our next lesson.